Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off our presentation today. We're going to explore decoding digital worlds, computer communication technologies. In this session, we'll cover how digital communication shapes our world, the key technologies involved, and their impact on our daily lives. Let's dive in and discover the fascinating ways technology connects us all. Welcome to today's discussion on networking the world. In this slide, we'll explore the different types of networks that connect us globally. We'll look at guided paths, which involve wired transmission media, and how these physical connections facilitate data transfer. Next, we'll talk about routing the information, focusing on switching techniques that direct data efficiently across networks. We'll also examine the language of data, highlighting the diverse representations and formats that enable different systems to communicate seamlessly. Additionally, we'll cover essential network devices and protocols that make these connections possible. The Internet, which serves as our gateway to a vast pool of global information, will be a key point of focus. We'll also understand how data flows through various communication modes, emphasizing the importance of these processes. At the core, we have the fundamentals of data communication, the basic principles that keep our networks functioning. We'll also touch on invisible highways, wireless transmission media, that allow us to stay connected without physical cables. Throughout this presentation, we aim to understand how these elements come together to create the complex, yet fascinating, world of networking. Welcome, Class 12. Today, we're going to start an exciting journey to understand the fundamental building blocks of how computers communicate with each other. We'll look at everything from the simple process of sending a message to another computer, to how the vast network of the Internet connects us all. Throughout this session, I'll introduce you to the key technologies that make our connected world possible. These concepts are the foundation of modern communication, and understanding them will give you a clearer picture of how data travels across networks. So, let's dive in and explore the fascinating world of computer communication together. Now, let's take a closer look at the essential components involved in data communication. First, we have the medium, which is simply the channel through which data travels from one device to another. Think of it like a highway for information. Next, there's the protocol, which is a set of rules that govern how data is exchanged, kind of like the traffic laws that keep everything moving smoothly and safely. Moving on, we have the sender, the device that initiates the data transfer. Without the sender, there's no starting point for communication. Then, there's the receiver, the device destined to receive the data, making sure the information gets to the right place. Finally, we have the message itself, the actual information being communicated, which can be anything from a file to a simple command. At its core, data communication is really just about the exchange of information between networked devices. These 5 components, medium, protocol, sender, receiver, and message, work together in harmony to ensure that data reaches its destination effectively. Understanding these basics helps us see how complex networks operate seamlessly behind the scenes. Let's take a closer look at how different types of data are represented, so computers can process and transmit them effectively. First, we have sound waves, which need to be digitized for transmission. Think of it as converting the analog sound into a series of numerical values that can be easily handled by computers. Next, when we talk about numbers, these are encoded in a way that allows for computation and transfer. This encoding makes complex calculations possible and ensures data integrity during transfer. Moving on to video, which is essentially a sequence of moving images. Each frame is broken down into pixel data, allowing computers to store and display the visuals smoothly. Similarly, images are represented as collections of pixels, each containing visual information. This pixel data is what makes digital images appear sharp and clear on screens. Lastly, text, letters, and symbols are converted into binary code, or bits. This binary representation is fundamental because it's the language that computers understand at the most basic level. Overall, before any data can be transmitted, it must be transformed into a format that computers can understand, beyond simple text. This is why understanding these diverse representations is crucial. It's the foundation that enables all digital communication and media we rely on every day. When it comes to high-speed data transmission, the gold standard is definitely optical fiber. Optical fiber transmits data as light pulses through very thin strands of glass or plastic. This method offers incredible bandwidth, which means it can carry a huge amount of data at once, making it ideal for backbone networks. Plus, it has minimal signal loss over long distances and is immune to electromagnetic interference, so it's very reliable for transmitting large volumes of data quickly and securely. Now, moving on to coaxial cables. They feature a central conductor surrounded by an insulating layer, then a metallic shield, and finally an outer jacket. This design provides better shielding against interference, especially useful for longer distances, like in cable TV networks. The shielding helps maintain signal quality over those distances, making coaxial cables a good choice for certain network and broadcast applications. Next, we have twisted pair cables, which are very common in LANs and telephone lines. These cables consist of two insulated copper wires twisted together. The twisting reduces electromagnetic interference from external sources, which helps keep the signal clear. They come in two main types: UTP, which is unshielded, and SDP, which has additional shielding for even better protection. Overall, wired media, or guided transmission paths, provide a reliable and fast physical conduit for data. They are essential for ensuring stable, high-speed communication within networks, especially when wireless options might be less reliable or secure. Now, let's take a closer look at some common wireless transmission media, starting with infrared signals, or IR. These are often found in TV remotes and some wireless mice. They operate over short distances and cannot penetrate solid objects like walls, which actually makes them quite suitable for secure, localized communication. The fact that their range is limited is a benefit when you want to keep the data confined to a small area. Next up are microwaves. These high-frequency waves are used for long-distance communication, such as satellite links and cellular networks. They require a clear line of sight, meaning no obstacles can block the signal. But it's important to note, if not properly encrypted, these signals can be insecure. Moving on to radio waves, which are used in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth devices. They're incredibly versatile because they can penetrate walls and other obstacles, giving us mobility and flexibility in our wireless connections. However, this same property makes them more vulnerable to interference and potential security issues. So, in essence, wireless media like these form invisible highways that let us transmit data through the air, making our devices more flexible, mobile, and convenient. Understanding these different types helps us appreciate how wireless communication powers much of our digital lives today. Data can flow in both directions at the same time, just like a phone conversation or an internet chat, where both parties can send and receive data simultaneously. This is what we call full duplex communication. It allows for more natural and efficient exchanges because both sides can talk and listen at the same time. On the other hand, data can flow in both directions, but not at the same time. Think of a walkie-talkie. One person talks and the other listens. When they want to speak again, they have to pause and wait for their turn. That's half-duplex communication. Then there's simplex mode, where data flows only in one direction, from sender to receiver. An example would be a television broadcast. You can only receive the information, not send anything back. The way devices exchange data, whether it's full duplex, half-duplex, or simplex, really defines their communication mode. And each mode is suited for different applications, depending on the needs for speed, efficiency, and interaction. So understanding these modes helps us see how data flows shape the way our devices communicate in various environments. Now, let's look at how data is broken into small, fixed-size units called packets. Each of these packets is routed independently across the network, which means they can take different paths to reach the destination. Once they arrive, they are reassembled into the original data. This packet switching method is fundamental to the internet because it makes data transfer both robust and efficient. Unlike older methods, packet switching allows multiple communications to happen simultaneously and adapts well to network congestion. So, understanding packet switching is key to grasping how modern networks operate smoothly and reliably. When we talk about networks that cover vast geographical distances, we're referring to wide area networks, or WANs. These networks connect different countries and even entire continents, allowing for communication and data sharing across the globe. The internet itself is the largest example of a WAN, showcasing how extensive and vital these networks are for our daily lives. Moving closer to home, we have metropolitan area networks, or MANs. These networks typically span an entire city and connect multiple local area networks, or LANs, together. Usually, a single organization owns and manages a MAN, making it a crucial link within urban environments for institutions like universities or large companies. And then there are LANs, or local area networks. These are more localized networks that operate within a small area, such as an office building, a school, or even a home. Their size and scope can vary widely, which directly impacts their speed and the kinds of applications they support. All of these network types, WAN, MAN, and LAN, highlight how different scales of connectivity serve different needs. Together, they form the backbone of global and local communication, enabling us to connect seamlessly regardless of where we are. Now, let's explore what makes the internet such a powerful gateway to global information. At its core, the internet is a vast, interconnected network of computers that communicate using standardized protocols. These protocols ensure that data can travel seamlessly across different systems and countries. One of the key elements we use to access specific resources on this network is the URL, or Uniform Resource Locator. Think of it as the address of a particular resource on the web, like http://www.example.com. Every valid URL points to a unique resource, making it easy to find exactly what you're looking for. Moving on, the web itself is built on a standard markup language called HTML, or Hypertext Markup Language. HTML defines the structure of web pages in a way that both humans and computers can understand. It's typically used for static content, meaning pages that don't change dynamically, and it helps create the layout and content you see on websites. Beneath all of this, there's the HTTP, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is the underlying protocol that governs how messages are formatted and transmitted across the web. It also specifies how servers and browsers should respond to various commands, ensuring smooth communication and data exchange. And finally, all these components come together to form the World Wide Web, or WWW. It's often mistaken as the entire internet, but in reality, the web is just one of many applications that run on the internet's infrastructure. The web is what allows us to access a universe of information and services with just a few clicks, truly making the internet a gateway to global knowledge. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the essential network devices and protocols that keep our internet running smoothly. First up is the Transmission Control Protocol and Internet Protocol, commonly known as TCP/IP. This set of rules is the backbone of digital communication, defining how data is exchanged over the internet. It connects different networks, like your home network and the broader internet, and ensures that data packets are directed correctly from one device to another. Next, we have the router. Think of it as the traffic cop of your network. It connects various networks, say your home network to the internet, and directs data packets efficiently between them, making sure information gets where it needs to go. Then there's Ethernet, which is crucial for connecting devices within a local area network, or LAN. It also intelligently forwards data packets to their specific destinations, helping devices communicate quickly and reliably within a confined space. We also have the switch, which extends the capabilities of Ethernet by boosting network signals over longer distances. This prevents signal degradation, ensuring your network coverage remains strong and stable, especially in larger environments. Finally, the repeater plays a vital role in maintaining signal integrity over distance. It boosts and regenerates signals, helping to prevent loss or degradation as data travels across longer stretches of cable or wireless links. And last but not least, the modem. It's the device that modulates and demodulates analog carrier signals, allowing us to access the internet over traditional phone lines or cable connections. Together, these tools and protocols form the foundation for global communication, connecting us seamlessly across distances.